Good day. Can you see this teeny tiny little thing held in my hand here? It's very difficult to see it. This thing is a silicon chip, and this thing is the oil of the 21st century. These kind of chips made of silicon are now at every smart weapon system, at every accurate weaponry, at electronics, at medical devices that save lives, cellular phones, smart cars, everything. In fact, these chips move forward the world economics today. And like the oil during the 1970s, they are also translated into geopolitical strength. And AI, anyone here hasn't heard of it yet? I mean, it's clearly no, it's the hottest arena. It's the most interesting thing now taking place in the technological world. AI takes a lot of chips like the one I just presented to you in order to perform all of the necessary calculations to try and imitate the human brain. And also because of AI, the world global powers headed by United States and China are battling for control of this resource, the chips. I want to take you many, many years to the past, 1972, September 12th, 1962, the president of the States, John Kennedy, declared the moon landing of the U.S. that they will be able to do it by the end of the decade, and our whole nation was recruited to do that. And he led a surge of technological development, and it led American technology in the world, and it paid off very well because every dollar he put into the Apollo program, he retrieved about $15 to $20 that came back to the American economy. Now it's our turn. The Israel moon chat is now it's our turn here, not only to being a startup nation, but also in becoming by the end of this decade the AI nation as well. Now, when AI just emerged, it seemed very promising to Israel. The assumption in the world automatically was that Israel will be one of the greatest victorious states in the world. Why? Because we're a high-tech nation. Nothing really stops us. In cyber, we had a great track record, and we were an empire, very successful. 4 years ago, when all of the AI just emerged, we were rated third place in the world. But fast forward a few years later on to the future, and we are now in the 30s of the world. Maybe even lower in some records. And this is quite a crazy crash. Just think about it. How could it have happened to us, to Israel? So, few reasons exist. One of which is that the technological world has indeed changed dramatically. When I started in high tech 25 years ago, I cannot remember anyone ever talking to us about technological policy, about the government, and obviously not about geopolitics of technology, which are things that we now hear every day in the news. When we received funds or started a startup, we always checked the financial possibility and profitability. But today things have changed, and technology is not just technology. The same way that oil is used to be more than just oil during the 1970s. Technology has become, in fact, a story of prestige, of power, of world global status, and all of this is under the shadow of the interpower battle between China and the States. Now we'll talk a bit about DeepSeek. DeepSeek, have you not heard of this AI Chinese engine that is driving the world crazy for the past month? We've all heard of it. The AI is the change of the technological world more than any other technology before. And just look at the launch of DeepSeek. It was not like the launch of any other technological device. It sounded more like a founding geopolitical moment. Is China stronger or weaker due to this? What is happening with American leadership? And from many aspects, this launch of DeepSeek reminded us of the shock that held the Americans in 1958 when one morning, surprisingly, everybody found out that the Soviets launched Sputnik to space. And indeed, some people called it the Chinese Sputnik moment, and it has indeed changed a lot of things. Another change that happened with technology is that it became very, very expensive. It's so in the past, startup used to be founded in a garage with a few guys. Today, it's a story of very heavy infrastructure, chips, server farms, supercomputers, rare alloys, electricity, water. All these things make the fact that a chip factory today costs about $20 billion, which is a great investment. And chips for AI are even more expensive than that. This is too big for the private sector. And so governments all over the world are in the picture, and they are passing legislation about technology, global technology, in order to support their industries and deal with the challenge of AI. And what has happened in Israel through this process? How does it happen that we have been lowering in the world scale ratings? We didn't fall asleep. We recognized the importance. We created national programs. We invested funds, and still we are going down in the ranking. Something here is not working. The world is running forward, and we are left behind. And for the first time in our high-tech history, and remember, the industry that is the most that is giving the most to the local financial incomes of Israel, we're missing it now. As we said, technology is quite expensive, and if regular technology is expensive, then AI is even more so much more so. AI, in fact, is a whole story of computing strength, and this is something that I will repeat later on. What do I mean? In order to imitate the human brain, trying to create AI, few things need to happen. First is huge computers that could calculate a massive amount of calculations. In order to do that, we need huge server farms in order to collect all of the human knowledge within them, and we need a lot of electricity and a lot of water and infrastructure in order to operate the computers and the water to cool the computers. Apart from these, we also need a lot of brains, talent, initiative, chutzpah, and the ability to fundraise, all the things that Israel is absolutely excellent in. So how do you measure the computing strength? So after you invited a high-tech person to INSS, to a security conference, I'll talk about numbers, but I'll do it very briefly. The little chip I just showed you, you need to know is stronger than your home computer by so much more. The computing power is measured by flops. The home computer can perform several hundreds of gigaflops or teraflops. Tera and giga, I'll just put some order into it. Tera is 12 zeros after. Supercomputers already measured in petaflops. It's 1 and 15 zeros after. The human brain, to compare, can perform 1 exaflop of calculations. Exa is 1 followed by 18 zeros, so it's quite a lot. The point being that this illustrates the computer strength required in order to try and imitate the brain with artificial measures. I forgot to pass those slides. Now it might be more clear. I apologize. And so we understood that the AI is a very unique technological challenge. It's quite different than anything else we've known before. And truly, there are many states that decided to just let go and not try to deal with this. But the states that are technologically at the high end are recognizing the opportunities that will follow AI, economic opportunities, scientific, military opportunities, as well as the prestige that will follow, which explains some of the reasons that China and the US are battling so hard amongst themselves about being the leader of chips and AI. Also, here in Israel, we obviously have recognized the potential and we really want to make it work, but the challenge is quite ambitious. And the demands are very high. It's not enough to just want it. You also need to put in the infrastructure to allow it. And today, Israel's technological infrastructure is simply not strong enough not to be competitive and absolutely not to be a leader. Israel has found itself in the unrespectable Club B, together alongside with Yemen, the Baltic, Poland, and many other states. We were ranked in the second league. It means that Israeli companies who want to work who want to have access to heavy computer infrastructure need to work with international companies abroad. I will repeat that. In AI, Israel today is dependent on foreign infrastructure, and we already know what it means to be dependent. It weakens the independence and the sovereignty. Israel today is planning a national supercomputer that will be very strong, but it was planned many, many years ago, 4 years ago, which is like dozens of years in technology years, that this computer will put Israel only in the 35th place in the world. Just for a short comparison, how strong is that supercomputer that will put us in the 35th place? Let's compare it to the DeepSeek computer that cost $63 million. That computer is twice as strong strong as the Israeli supercomputer that is still in the planning. And I'll give you a spoiler, Chinese haven't been really able to develop cheap AI that doesn't require strong computers, which is why it's not very probable for Israel to be seduced to these magical alchemy solutions that the Chinese will not bring us the solution or the remedy. And it's important that in the global battle for AI, Israel will stand next to the Americans. Let's start to summarize. In order to create technological sovereignty, we need a supercomputer that is 30 times stronger than the one being planned now in Israel. It will cost 4 million shekels, which are a great part of the GNP, and it will repay itself if we do it. We spoke of main 3 points. One is our moonshot. We must aspire to not only be a startup nation, but also AI nation. Two, we need for that a supercomputer that is 30 times stronger than the one we are planning, and it will return itself. The investment will return itself. And three, we have to stand side by side with the states in this battle. To summarize and end, like in any other infrastructure, such as education, transportation, etc., we must make sure that we have technological infrastructure. And in the local market, we need to do in the private market what we do best, which is invent, initiate, fundraise, bring more companies, and put more Israelis from every gender and sector into the work to the work market. And if we are able to do all of these, not only that we stop the decline in AI, but we also take our right place as leaders in this market and assist Israel and the people of Israel to find new heights and realize the Israeli dream, as I like to call it. Thank you very much.